Well, hello everybody and welcome to Lunch Break Live, real talk about obesity, food addiction, recovery, and what's really eating you. I am Carrie Dela Cruz and I'm a little bit low energy today. I'm just going to put that out there. Not feeling tip top, but hey, I didn't want to miss spending this time with you guys. So I'm giving it my all and I'm here. Why? Is it because I care what you guys think? Maybe a little. And that's kind of the title of today's show. Marcus, among other people, gave me this question last week when I asked what you guys wanted to talk about. And he said, how can I stop caring what other people think? That's what he said. How can I stop caring about what other people think? And I thought that was a really, really good and powerful question. And I'm going to do my very best to answer it from my perspective, my opinion, which is pretty much all I have to give anyway, right? And so if it makes sense to you guys, keep it, run with it, go for it. If it doesn't really make sense, if it doesn't fit you, that's all right. You guys can just tune in tomorrow and see if I'm talking about something better. Anyway, as I kind of wait for people to join in, I would like to throw that out there because I care. How are you guys doing? Did you have a good weekend? Are you all feeling good? Everybody happy and ready to do some good work with me this week? Hoping you guys shoot me some hearts, shoot me some smiley faces. That lets me know that you're listening, and I can actually see those a little bit better than your comments. Let's see. I see Kathleen, you made it. And I see my mama. Ooh, did mom beat Kathleen or did Kathleen beat mom? And let's see here. All right. There we go. I see some hearts popping up. All right. So getting everybody to join here. It takes a little bit of time, I realize, as I kind of look back through the reruns of the show. I realize that it takes a little bit of time for everybody to catch up and join the program. So welcome, welcome, welcome. All right then. So let me just dive into this to the best of my ability. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Mama. I see your happy face going by with just about 1 million hearts. And thank you so much. I love you. Okay. And so here's my thinking on this, all right? When we're talking about how can I stop caring what other people think? I think that's a tricky one. And first of all, I'm going to have you think about this. Why do we care what other people think in the first place? I kind of think we're hardwired to care. I think we're born to care what other people think of us. I mean, think about it. When we're born and we're babies, we want other people to know that we're hungry or that we need changing or we want to be picked up. We care if they understand how we feel. It's very important that we get their attention and we want to know why they care about us, right? So we hunger for their care, I guess you could say. Now, when we're toddlers, it doesn't change, right? We care if we get in trouble or not, right? We care if we get our own way. If we get to do what we want to do, we care about that. How do we know exactly when we're going to get in trouble? How do kids know? I mean, look at them, right? They watch for the signs. They begin to read the terrain, read the caregiver, read mom and dad, read their siblings, right? They're looking to see if the other person cares about what they do. So we are actually looking at whether or not other people care what we do, how we are, how we feel, are our needs being met, right? Okay. We learn if our parents are mad or sad, right? If mom's crying, we want to comfort her. That matters to us, right? We want to know that our mom cares. If we're crying, if we fall and we get hurt, we want to know that our mom cares. What happens? I mean, think about this. Have you ever watched a kid fall and then look around to see if anybody saw it happen? And then if somebody comes running over, if somebody saw it happen, they start to cry, right? But maybe if no one saw it, if it wasn't that bad, they don't really cry because there's no one there to care. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's natural to care, I think, what other people think. All right. Over time, we adjust, we adapt our behaviors based upon what other people think, right? So we adapt. If we don't want to get in trouble, we learn the signs, we learn what that looks like, and we start doing things so that we won't get in trouble. Or if we want attention, we start doing things so that we will get attention, whether it's good attention or bad attention, right? Healthy or unhealthy attention. We begin to know that other people care what we're doing, okay? How our families feel has an effect on us. Whether or not we perceive they care about us matters. And we will go to great lengths to get a response if we feel like we're being ignored. We're going to go to great lengths. And like I said, sometimes that's unhealthy behavior, right? Acting up, misbehaving. Because have you heard it said, any attention is good attention, right? Well, maybe not, but we learn that at a very young age. I want you to think about this for a minute. When we're doing things, as we're learning, as we're growing, we are looking for feedback. We want to know that someone cares about how we're doing. Watch me, mommy. Watch me, mommy, right? Learning to ride a bike. How did I do, Dad? Was that good, Dad? We're looking for feedback. We're looking for affirmation, acknowledgement. Was that good? Is this right? Right? I got an A on my paper. Are you proud of me? Am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Do you love me? Do you care? So those types of things, the feedback, validation, acknowledgement, acceptance, recognition that we exist, that's how we connect with other human beings, right? So we are hardwired to care, if that's the word that you want to use, what other people think or feel or believe about us. Do you agree? Send me some happy faces or thumbs up or something like that if you guys kind of agree with what I'm saying. All right. I'm not seeing them fly by yet, but I'm going to hope that I have not lulled you into a coma, a careless coma. There we go. I'm seeing some thumbs up coming through. All right then. Okay, so I think we're built to care what other people think because it is feedback, okay? It's feedback, and it helps us to understand how we're doing, where we fit in, how others perceive us, and our value, right? I see a lot of thumbs up and happy faces going by, all right? So since that's the case, I'm kind of thinking we might be asking the wrong question when we set out there and say, how do I stop caring what other people think? See, I just don't think that's the real question, and yet that is the question that we're told. Why do you care what other people think? Why do you worry about what other people think, right? You hear that all the time. Someone trying to tell you to shape up and get a backbone and not be so thin-skinned. Don't worry about what other people think, right? You hear that all the time. But is the goal to really stop caring? Or is it to stop allowing what other people think to affect you negatively? So I guess my question is, do you really want to shut everybody out and not get any feedback at all? I think the answer to that is no. And I think we're on to us. And so it doesn't ring true to us when we say, how can I stop caring? We know we can't. We can't stop caring. And guess what? I don't think we should stop caring. We should always care. Okay? So I think we need to change the statement to ourselves. And then maybe we can get a little bit further in our recovery, all right? When we say we want to stop caring, somewhere down deep inside, we know it's not a reasonable goal. We are wired to care. Even if we were hurt, even if we decided when we were young, I am never going to care. I am just never going to care. There is still a need down inside, right? And under that, I'm going to call it that protective veneer, that hard shell of apathy, I believe we all have reality, which is the hunger, the desire, and the need to be cared about and to care for others. Because that's the human condition. That's how we connect with each other, right? So not caring kind of puts us in a place where maybe we're a little less human. That doesn't feel so good. And if that's the goal, no wonder we're fighting it, don't you think? We care about other people's opinions, feelings, and beliefs. We do, okay? I think as we learn to live in recovery, which means living life on life's terms, by the way, the goal is not to stop caring, but to determine whose opinions, feedback, feelings, beliefs will affect us. Got that? We get to determine whose feedback is going to affect us. Which people in our lives do we value? Whose input matters to us and in what capacity? Because we know that not everyone's feedback has the same value, the same level. Obviously, some have more import, more significance, more of an impact on our lives than others. And yet we can't entirely discount everyone's, right? How do we know what to do? Well, let's think about this for a minute. Do we value the thoughts of our parents, our family, maybe our mate, more than our boss, our friends, teachers? Are you ready for this one? Strangers. Do we value the opinions of those closest to us, those who are supposed to have our best interest at heart, especially in a healthy relationship? Okay? Do we value those more than we value the opinions of strangers? I'm going to argue that sometimes no. Sometimes we put a lot more value in what strangers think about us than we do in those who really matter in our lives. How many of us care what strangers think about us? Or here's the bigger question: how do we really know what strangers are thinking anyway? I mean, when you really think about it, do you know what strangers are thinking as they just walk by and say nothing to you? You think you can read their face, but maybe they're, wrinkling their nose or looking down their nose at something entirely different, and it has nothing to do with you. So why do we allow what we think they're thinking to affect us? Wow, we spend a lot of time thinking we know what they're thinking, don't we? I know I'm not alone on this one, you guys. Okay, maybe not all of us do, but I have a feeling a lot of us do. Now, in a lot of cases, I think we fill in the blanks. That's what I call it. That's what I always did. I'd fill in the blanks. Why? Maybe because I thought by filling in the blanks, I was being more protective, because I was like, what is the word I'm looking? Preemptive, like a preemptive strike, right? I'm going to fill in the blank myself so you can't. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this. So if I think it first, then you can't think it about me. Preemptive strike, maybe? Ouch, that kind of hurts. All right. I have some suggestions for you guys, because I'm not going to just talk about, why this is a problem or why this is so hard. I want to talk about beginning to transition away from that preoccupation, obsession, focus on what other people think and believe, and into a life of balanced recovery. And that's what this is all about, you guys, is that peace, that serenity. It's very exhausting to worry about what other people think, right? It's exhausting. We want some peace. We want some serenity. So number one, I think we want to remember that it's not all about you. This is something we learn in 12-step programs. You might learn it in therapy. You might learn it in other places. It doesn't mean you're less than. What it means is you're not more than. Okay? It's not about you. Yet, how often do we believe everything? We operate as if everything is about us. You're thinking about me. You're thinking bad thoughts. Look at that person over there. They're looking at me and thinking I'm fat. Oh, look at that person over there. Okay? It's all about us, really? Do you really think they woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to think bad thoughts about Carrie today? Gosh, I hope not. Anyway, when we get hung up on, quote, caring what other people think, are we maybe trying to make ourselves more important because we feel less important? Think about that for just a minute. Are we trying to make ourselves seem more important by pretending to care so much about what other people think because we feel less important ourselves? Something to think about. Here's another one. Number two, we don't know what others are thinking unless they tell us. And even then, it can be really tricky because we're hearing it through the filter of what we would mean if we said that, right? So we don't always know. This is very, very tricky business. But if we're coming at it from a point where it's all about us and we're only listening to ourselves and not listening to them, it gets a little bit more challenging. Even if we know what we would be thinking, we don't know until we know. That's really the bottom line, okay? A lot of us are preoccupied, spend a lot of time trying to figure out what other people mean. I think that's kind of time that we could spend on our own recoveries, really, instead of worrying about other people. Are we trying to get approval or agreement? If it's your boss, you want to feel like you're doing a good job. Hey, I'm raising my hand on that one. It's a struggle for me every day. I want to feel like the job that I'm doing matters. I want to feel like I'm valued and appreciated for the work that I do. I want to feel respected and trusted, okay? I think it's human nature. So what he thinks matters, right? It does. On some level, if he writes your paycheck, if he's disappointed and unhappy with you, you might want to know about it, but the only way you're going to know is if he tells you. And maybe he's the kind of person that doesn't tell you you're doing a good job. He only tells you you're doing a bad job. You know, that's just the fact of it. There's a lot of people out there like that really don't give a lot of positive feedback, maybe only give negative feedback. That's a possibility too. But if the only feedback they give is negative, does that mean there is nothing positive about you? Something to think about, something I work on every day, right? This is real stuff, you guys. This is the stuff that eats us up. This is the stuff we feed, okay? Let's see here. What if you're trying to get agreement? Does everyone have to agree with you? And what if they don't? Now, this comes from a question from Diane Abercrombie. And she asked me at one point, how do I get people to understand, about that I had weight loss surgery and understand what it means to lose weight and, my life and all this stuff. And I asked her quite simply, why does it matter? Why do they have to understand? Is that so that you will be agreed with, so that you will be right? And I wrote something about this. I know that was my issue, is I kept saying, I just want them to understand. I just want them to understand me. If they just understood me, what? I would be right. So are we looking at things and saying, I care what they think because I want to be right and I want them to agree with me, but claiming we just want to be understood? Something to think about. Only you guys know. Doesn't fit everybody. Like I said, if it fits, keep it. If it doesn't, leave it. Okay? Let's see here. Let's see. Do you believe you have value even if someone else doesn't tell you you do? This is a biggie, you guys. Do you believe you have value even if someone else doesn't tell you you do? We are not self-contained people, all right? And we need reassurance and validation and acknowledgement and appreciation. We just do. This is not something that we can do all for ourselves. However, there is a balance where we can't expect other people to do it for us either. See? So there's a balance. We have to believe in ourselves and not look to other people to believe in us because we don't believe in ourselves. We can't look to other people to tell us we have value if we don't believe it ourselves. I kind of think that other people's feedback, their feelings and their beliefs and their thoughts about me should reinforce the positive things that I believe about myself and highlight the stuff that I need to work on in a non-threatening way. And this is really challenging because our ego gets in the way. Oh my gosh, the ego gets in the way. We're wounded, we're hurt. Oh my gosh, I don't want them to think bad things about me. Oh my gosh, what if? What if they think that I'm stupid? What if they think I'm not smart? What if they think I can't do it? What if they question my ability? Wow, okay, I don't know. What if I question my ability? What if I think I can't do it? What if I don't trust myself? See what I mean? It's only going to be amplified if I already don't believe it in myself. So that's kind of where that whole self-awareness kind of thing comes into play. We are not self-contained. We need reinforcement from others. However, we need it to build up the positive stuff within ourselves. So how do we consider other people's input in a healthy way? That's the goal. Recovery is about doing things the healthiest way we can. You got to consider the source. You got to consider the source, all right? What role does this person play in your life? It's pretty important. Is it your spouse? If it is, I'm going to say that that opinion, that input is going to matter more than the stranger on the street. But, maybe we invalidate it. Maybe we don't listen to it. Maybe we say, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, you married them, so you're with them. There must be a reason you're with them, right? I'm not saying that spouse's opinion should control you, or that you should control them. It needs to be healthy, all right? So it means that you take the input under advisement. Do you know what I'm saying? In a healthy way. Not because it's going to determine your value again, okay? That has to come from within. The goal is to strengthen your recovery. And we can look at healthy input when we are healthy, okay? We can look at other people's, we can make their output healthy input, I guess you could say, all right, when we are coming from a healthy place. So instead of asking, how can I stop caring? I think the better question is, does this person's input, position, or opinion of me affect me? So first of all, does it actually affect me? So the stranger on the street that might have an opinion, does that really affect me? That's the first thing we've got to figure out, all right? And if so, how? How does that person's opinion really affect me? And is this an accurate depiction of their thoughts about me, or did I fill in the blanks? See, there's a lot of work that we need to do here. Balance. How much does all of this matter? Balance, all right? Is this person of value in my life? Does their input matter? How does their input affect me? Is it positively or negatively? Do you see? That's a lot different than how can I stop caring, don't you think? What we're really asking is, how can I get out of my own way so that all of the thoughts, the negative stuff that I believe about myself is not just highlighted and amplified by all of the negative thoughts that I'm going to ascribe to somebody else that I really don't even know if they're thinking. Okay, that's not going to make any sense, but that is what goes on inside my head, you guys. Oh my God. Maybe I should have written that down before I said that. How does that person's opinion of me impact my recovery? That's the bottom line. How does that person's opinion of me impact my recovery? Only you know the answer to that. You got to look at that. Maybe a lot, maybe a little, maybe not at all. Not everyone has the same level of input unless you allow them to, right? Recovery is a process. So I would encourage you guys to start looking at the influence that other people have on you and your life, okay? And determine if you're giving them more influence over your life than you should. So that's my thoughts on this whole idea of not caring. I think we do care. I don't think we should stop caring. I think we should look at it and put it in perspective and say, am I giving them authority or power or control, undue influence over my life that really isn't theirs to have? Okay, that's how we have to, we gotta, keep our eyes on our own paper, not worry about what other people are doing. First of all, start with myself. Do I think I have value? Do I think I'm capable? Okay, you got it? Then look for other people's input to come to you in a healthy way so that you're not looking for those people to give you value that you don't believe you have yourself. You know what? It's easy to grab a hold of critical thoughts, right? Especially if they match our own thoughts about ourselves, right? So if someone's insulting us or putting us down, it's real easy to glom on to that and say, I believe that about myself, therefore what they're saying is true, and it hurts more. But that's stuff we'll talk about on another show, I promise. So for now, I'm gonna glance at those comments real quick and let you guys go. And thank you all for being here and hanging on for dear life. All right, let's see here, Marcus. I hope I did some justice to your question. I hope my answer that somewhere in the midst of all of this, what I'm saying makes sense to you guys. And yes, start with yourself. Closer or closer? Not sure, Kathleen. See, you did it to me again. I have no idea what that means. And now I'm like, it's not in context. So now I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to have to look. All right, Kathleen. Yeah, you know what? I'm talking about you. We are so much more alike than we want to believe we are. And that's not such a bad thing, because if we look at it this way, that means we can understand and care about each other. All right. Yeah, Marcus, I think a lot of us come from a place of wanting people to tell us we're valuable, but if we don't believe it ourselves, then none of it's going to stick. It's kind of like, shooting rubber bands at a suit of armor. I mean, they're just going to bounce right off. They're not going to hit their mark at all. Because if you don't believe it yourself, then none of it's going to stick, right? None of it's going to go inside. So, all of those things. Scott Schatz, Mr. Schatz, we will talk. Never mind. Oh my gosh. Okay. You might be in one of the books that I wrote, but I'll talk to you about that later. Scott was my neighbor and we grew up together, and let's just say Facebook is an interesting place, and I'm really glad you're here, Scott. It's amazing how people's input affects our output. I'll just say that out there. Boy, that caught me off guard. All right. And I'm moving my phone here as I'm like moving all over the place. All right, you guys. So listen, there's a lot of stuff back here, and I'm just going to tell you, I am really glad that you're all here, and I'm going to answer your comments and stuff like that. But I want to give you courage and give you some hope that what it is that needs to happen here is not impossible. It just needs rephrasing. We need to be asking the right questions in order to come up with the answers. The right question is, how can I manage the input from others in a healthy way? Not how can I stop caring? And I think once we do that, we're going to have a lot more progress in our recovery. That's what I think. All right, you guys, listen, I'm going to sign off before I keel over. Oh my goodness. But I am going to remind you all to have courage, seek peace, embrace joy, and above all, live your recovery. I care about it, and I hope you do too. Remember, you can't stop feeding what's eating you if you don't know what's eating you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.